Hi, Jamie. How are
Hi.
the Unlife of Lisa Cooper is this is this is your new book, or is this your first book?
It really is. Yes, it's my first novel
Okay.
published, so it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it what I mean, kind of talk about like what have you written before, and I know you started with Lisa Cooper on Kindle Vella, and now
That's
that's
right.
book. So kind of like I think in your bio you say that you've been writing for a long time. So how did Lisa Cooper come about? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I have been writing for a long time, but I haven't really this Lisa's the first real character to see the light of day, as it were.
Yeah.
Um I wrote another manuscript that I queried for a while, and that didn't hasn't gotten picked up. So I kind of put that on the shelf for a while. But while I was querying, I wanted to keep creating content. So I decided to give Kindle Vella a try. And Lisa was a character that was rattling in my head for a long time. So this book is actually the 40 episode collection of that entire Kindle Vella series that ran.
So this is really like kind of your first kind of real attempt to kind of self-publish. Is that
That's
right?
right.
Okay.
Yep,
This wow.
absolutely.
And it's awesome because I mean you've already got some really great reviews on it. Um so I mean you live in New England, and obviously this is a New England vampire story. I love that, like there's so many interesting things about it that 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 stand out to me. Like when the I feel like there's the folklore element that you bring into it with the dog, and
Yeah.
yeah, like I really want you to talk about that. But there's kind of another cool thing about it that uh like it and honestly it kind of made me think of like Tooth of Crime. You know, Sam Shepard's Tooth of Crime, with the whole like kind of tribal warfare and the different the cities, they're all kind of battling each other, and you've got like the vampire gang that's like in charge, like ruling this city, and Boston has its, and they're all kind of coming after Lisa Cooper for some reason. I don't really understand that, but it's kind of weird. But I don't know. So I guess that's like two different things you can talk about. So I guess pick one and tell me all about that.
Yeah, it takes place. It does take place in Boston, and this is the uh, Prudential Tower. If you're familiar with Boston, it's the second tallest building in Boston. So I want to make sure I put the Boston
Yeah.
skyline in there. And you're right. There is a vampire organization that controls the Boston and New England area. I call it a bleed. I've seen lots of different terms used for groups of vampires, what to call them, like nests. And Patricia Briggs calls them seeths. But I thought bleed was a cool word for it because it's almost like you're bleeding the area that you control. And their rival is over in New York. So there's this tension between New York and Boston. Um,
Yeah.
that's there. And Lisa, yeah, you're right. She gets caught in the crossfire of a lot of different things, and some of it is internal, where there's rival vampires and stuff giving her a hard time, and some of it is just the danger of being a vampire out in the world. I'm sure that if I followed another character in the bleed, they'd have equal amounts of peril in their life, but the so-called camera is really following Lisa, so it's her story. But there's definitely like lots of things that she runs into. There's a werewolf problem, a demon problem. She runs into a some evil wizard type person. Like I said, a rival vampire, nasty fae folk that come after her. Lots of supernatural enemies for sure.
Yeah, you've got everything. You've got the Fae, yeah, you've got the witches, and talk about the folklore a little bit, because that's really cool. Like the
Oh yeah.
can't even speak intelligently about it, but like you've got the she's got like this weapon that's like like a, I guess Irish or Scotch Irish kind of weapon
Yeah. Yep.
uses.
She has a shillelagh, which is it's a Irish fighting stick. And it's a traditional Irish weapon. So back in the days when the English really were, well, they did it for a while, but they
Right.
were really putting the screws to the Irish and they weren't letting them have weapons pretty much. So the Irish cleverly came up with the shillelagh, which was something that they could say, well, this is just my walking stick. And they came up with the whole way of fighting with the shillelagh. There's a whole martial art associated with fighting with it. Um, and one of the ways you can fight with a shillelagh is to fence with one. You use it just like you would a rapier or anything else. So Lisa learned how to basically use a sword with a
Mm.
stick from her father. So there's some scenes where you'll see swordplay come into action, and it's because she's been trained in the shillelagh. But there is a lot of folklore in it now that you mention it, because Bram Stoker was actually from Ireland, the author of Dracula. He went to Trinity College in Dublin, and he probably may have researched. This is a rumor, we don't know, but he may have researched this old Irish tale called about a vampire named Abertach, who was a old Irish king back in the days of the clans. And so I did a lot of research into the folklore of, Ireland and vampires in general, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I made Abertach kind of the first vampire of the world, and everyone kind of stemmed from him. So Lisa, being Irish, has this folklore roots going back to that mythology, if you will.
I guess in some folklore traditions, the like a magical person will kind of have a like an animal like this one has some kind of a lot of magical properties. Was there any kind of inspiration behind that?
So I wanted, it's funny because I wanted to put a dog in the story because I wanted to have cozy moments. And I thought having a dog in the story would have like a sweet kind of juxtaposed against all this action adventure kind of thing that she's doing. And then have this dog that she pets or maybe goes on vacation, not vacation, on adventures with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what happened was I wrote this scene where she was going to rescue this dog because its owner was missing for a long time. And when I researched it, I'm like, wait, there's no way that this, if you leave a dog alone for too long, that's not good. The dog needs food and water. And, I realized very quickly that either I needed a rewrite or I needed this dog to be very special. So I think it would be cooler if this dog was some sort of magical thing. And so I tapped into some folklore. What are some mythological dogs? I don't want to exactly give away exactly what Chewy
Okay.
is,
Okay.
but he's definitely something from Irish folklore.
Okay.
Well, maybe is it Irish? It might be British, but it's in that area, right? And that's where I kind of get my cozy moments with
Yeah.
him. And he's also tenacious. He guards Lisa and protects her very, very dearly.
Yeah.
And they make a cool duo. It's kind of like the vampire and the dog and
Yes.
the
Yeah.
adventure.
Totally. Totally. So is Scotch Irish your background more or less?
Actually, it is. Yeah, I'm like 40% Irish. I took some DNA test or whatever.
Do you have your book ready to? You have a copy of it?
I do. Yep.
Oh, okay, and you put it on Amazon, right? So you started out with Ken Novella, 40 episodes, and then You said I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna put it on Amazon.
The book was released October 6th. So about a month ago
Okay,
almost.
cool. Yeah, and it's already got some really great reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah, bookshop.org. Some of your proceeds go to something called bookshop.org, which I have no idea what
that's
that
right.
is. Sure.
Yeah, bookshop.org partners with independent bookstores around the country. And if you're an independent author or, well, I don't know, even traditionally published author, you could basically sell your books through bookshop.org, and it'll go out like you would if you went into like a Barnes and Noble or any other bookstore and said, hey, I want this book. And if you have a real ISBN number that's not given to you free by Amazon, but something that can print on demand, like through Ingram Spark, bookshop.org will print your book through its website and give a portion of your sale to your local bookstore of your choosing. So it's almost like the sale went through, my hometown's bookstore, so in that way, I'm helping my community. I'm helping my local bookstores, my independent bookstores, because they're fighting tenaciously to keep up with the big guys, like Barnes and Noble and Target and all these other BJ's even, right? All these big chains. And ultimately, I want to, and they in turn, they will hopefully carry my books on consignment. So you can go into these local bookstores and hopefully find my book on a shelf. And in turn, if you buy online, I give them a kickback of the thing. So we kind of help each other out, is what it is.
That's great. That's great. I love that. So yeah, so what's are you kind of are you gonna do anything else with Lisa Cooper? Like maybe an audiobook or a sequel or
Ooh,
any
I'd love to do an audiobook. It's very, very expensive and I'd have to pay for it
yeah.
myself. So that is not in the cards right now, but I am working on a sequel. I'm about 22,000 words into the sequel, where she, it picks right up after the first book. And, I'm actually sending her to Ireland. I can tell you that much. She goes to Ireland. So that's a lot of adventure there. And there's going to be the romantic arc is going to continue. There's a little bit of a romantic arc in this first book, and it's going to grow stronger, heat up, second book for sure. Chewie will be there, the dog will be there.
Awesome.
All adventure. But I also have a prequel series coming out, not a prequel series, but a prequel book coming out, hopefully spring of next year, called The Vampires of 1863, which follows Lisa when she was just a 3-year-old vampire. She was turned at the age of 22.
Okay.
And in 1863, she'll have only been a vampire for 3 years, and it's her getting into these, troubles and adventures within Boston at that time period. So it's a historical fiction with vampires, basically.
Yeah.
And how she kind of rises through the ranks and survives everything that gets thrown at her in her very first early days.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting because I think one of the things that really compelled me to keep reading, I started reading the Kindle Vella, and I really liked the fact that, like, in the very first episode, you get this vampire that's just completely fed up. Like she's so done with it all, She can't even she's just ready to, throw in her vampire card and totally be done with it. And then of course everything starts coming at her and she gets pulled in into all this adventure. And because
the thing with her is that she does not want to submit to her curse. She wants to hold on to her humanity and navigate the waters of darkness without losing herself.
Yes, yeah, she's Yeah, and especially given her age as a vampire, it's pretty interesting how she's been able to hang on to that thirst for life. I guess this is your first product being published, but I mean, do you go way back writing vampire stories? Like, have you been doing this for like just kind of playing around with it, or and then
Maybe a little bit in role-playing games, but never
okay.
attempting to write a story itself. This is my first attempt at it for Lisa. I've written other stuff like fantasy stuff,
Yeah.
magic and elves and things like that, but this is my first foray into Lisa's story.
Right. Okay. And then you also mentioned Ingram Spark in there. So is that how you published your paperback through Ingram Spark?
I did. I also published through KDP, but if I want to be widely distributed, outside of Amazon, I Ingram Spark allows me to print. And so any bookstore you go into, any place that sells books, you can you can buy it for it, and it'll ship right to your house.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
then libraries can get it too if
Yep.
so that's cool. Um and then talk about the art. Did you do the art or did you hire someone to do the art, the cover?
I
Yeah.
hired a professional for it.
Yeah.
I can't do this. No, I hired a professional. She was great to work with, so great. I'd write her and go, can you make it a little more like this, or can you do this? And she'd boop boop boop. She'd make all the changes. Um, she was fantastic to work with.
That's great. Okay. Um, so is there anything else you wanna put out there or talk about?
Just if you like vampire stories and you're looking for something with some action adventure, a wee bit of cozy with a sweet dog and some romance, then I think the Unlife of Lisa Cooper would be right up your alley. I'm
Oh,
really proud of this book. I'm really excited about it, and I think my goal is just to write something that people enjoy, and I hope that I've done that.
oh yeah, you definitely have. All right. Um, so thank you very much. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
this. This was fun.
Yeah, nice meeting you, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, happy Halloween, I guess.
Happy
Maybe.
Halloween.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.